Happy Friday. Welcome to APTN National News. I'm Dennis Ward. Encounters between Mi'kmaq harvesters and fisheries and oceans officers are sometimes filled with tension. And an example of that happened earlier this week in southwestern Nova Scotia. As Angel Moore reports, a Mi'kmaq boat collided with a DFO boat.
It's not safe! It's not safe!
Shawquest Miller is the one speaking on the video as a DFO officer tried to board her boat. It happened just off the waters of Saulnieville Wharf. A DFO Zodiac circles Miller's boat and at one point collides, causing damage.
What's going on? Holy shit! You just did that to my boat!
For a brief moment, the Zodiac gets stuck partially on the hull.
It happened so quick, it was scary. Like, I honestly thought I was going to sink. I thought I was going to die. Like, the whole rail came into the boat. So I was afraid I was going to sink.
Miller is from the Acadia First Nation and owns a boat called Ebony Marie. Her crew were harvesting lobster with Acadia authorized tags. Miller does not know why the fisheries officers boarded her boat.
When they came on my vessel, they did not have any lights, no sirens. They didn't come over the radio to say slow down, to stop. They just ran me as hard as they could for no reason at all. And then came on my vessel looking at everything they could, trying to find something wrong, and they couldn't because I didn't do anything wrong.
The officers checked Miller's catch and said her boat will be repaired.
Whatever needs to be fixed will get fixed.
Thank you, I appreciate it, but you also know that it needs to be fixed within
14 days.
Yes. Yeah. I have till October 4th.
Miller needs her boat repaired by October 4th to prepare for her community's fishing season.
I'm still in shock. I'm actually scared. If I don't get my boat fixed, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. I don't know how I'm supposed to fish my moderate livelihood. I don't know how I'm going to take care of my kids.
The RCMP told APTN News the investigation into the collision has been concluded and that DFO was in execution of its duties and no criminal offense occurred. Angel Moore, APTN National News, Jabuktuk, also known as Halifax.
Now, the Department of Fisheries and Oceans responded to APTN News this morning. They said officers were attempting to board Miller's boat to verify compliance under the Fisheries Act. DFO says Miller's vessel evaded that boarding, resulting in the collision, and an investigation into potential charges is underway. In 1971, a former residential school in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, was repurposed as a post-secondary institution. It is now taking steps to ensure the building's history is not forgotten. The structure that houses Algoma University was once the Shingwak Indian Residential School. And as APTN's Mike McDonald tells us, the main hall at the university has been transformed into a residential school exhibit to educate the public about a dark chapter in Canada's history.
Pictures of Indigenous children line the walls of what is now Shingwak Hall, located in the main building of Algoma University's Sault Ste. Marie campus. They are the children of Shingwak. The president of the Children of Shingwak Alumni Association, whose mother attended the school and was a founding member of the group, urges the public to visit the site.
There's a lot of truth here, and I think you need to know the history and the truth before you can reconcile. So this is a great place to learn, and it's such a beautiful place to learn with the original school here, with the survivors being active on site.
Sisters Jackie Fletcher and Shirley Horn are also founding members of the Children of Shingwak Alumni Association. With regard to truth and reconciliation, Fletcher says the exhibit is a good start.
I hope it's not going to take 100 years to right the wrongs. And we as residential school survivors are really aging now. There's not many of us left. So we need to make sure that the next generation of people carry on our story so this never happens again.
The residential school didn't only hurt the Native people. It hurt the rest of the population as well, because they were excluded from what the country's agenda. And many people didn't know, or to this day even know, about the residential school.
The Shingwak exhibit is a place where stories are shared.
I remember this girl. We were in the senior dorm. I don't know what happened. Some kind of trouble took place. She was there, and the next day she was gone. Never heard from her again. I don't know what happened to her. But anyways, yes, this cubby hole. We used to go in there and we would just sit and whisper and talk about home. Talk about our brothers and sisters. We might have stolen some bread and we would share the bread in there. Or one of the girls was supposed to be watching out and I got caught. They pulled me out of there and beat me up and said, "You like it in there?" Pushed me back and said, "Stay in there." But you could see a little bit of light from around that crack. So I was okay with that, and I thought, well, they'll just leave me in here. They got to come and get me sooner or later because they locked it. They locked me up. Truth and reconciliation is the truth that's being told by survivors, reclaimers, and reconciling with ourselves and with the public. To me, that's how I look at truth and reconciliation.
Events are planned all day on September 30th at Algoma University, starting with a sunrise ceremony at 7:30. Also on the 30th, the public unveiling of the Wawanosh School for Girls Memorial will take place in the afternoon. Mike McDonald, APTN National News, Sault Ste. Marie.
Thanks, Mike. Next week will mark the end of Cassidy Caron's term as president of the Metis National Council. It has been a tumultuous 3 years for the MNC. It started with the Manitoba Métis Federation withdrawing from the organization, and it is ending with the Métis Nation Saskatchewan also pulling out after 41 years. We spoke with Cassidy Caron earlier today, and we'll bring you the entire interview tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. Here's some of that interview where we asked President Caron whether the MNC will survive this current turmoil.
There is an absolute viable pathway to allow the Métis National Council to remain as a legal organization in good standing with the articles and the Act. And we continue to want to move forward in that way. Ultimately, like I say, I presented a pathway to our governors when the Manitoba Métis Federation withdrew. We remained strong for these last 3 years. With the withdrawal of Métis Nation Saskatchewan, I've once again presented a strong pathway forward, and it will be the determination of the remaining governors to decide what happens.
Again, we'll bring you that full interview tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. Time for a quick break, but still to come, a look at a high school in the north giving back for Orange Shirt Day. Stick around. Welcome back. A giant floor map of the Great Lakes St. Lawrence River watershed was unveiled in Ottawa on Thursday, just in time for National Day for Truth and Reconciliation on September 30th. The interactive map is a collaboration between Canadian Geographic, Swim, Drink, Fish, and Avara Media, and it leans heavily on the teachings of Indigenous elders. APTN's Fraser Needham has that story.
It's called the Binagami Giant Floor Map, and Kitigan Zibi Elder Claudette Command explains what this means to her.
We're coming in with a good heart, a good spirit with kindness and love for the water. Each and every one of us human beings, no matter the title we hold, no matter the color we are, no matter the creed we follow, we all come from water, each and every one of us. And we must thank the water. We must respect the water.
Katie Doreen is the education coordinator with Canadian Geographic. She says the map is the product of extensive interviews with elders where they led the way on how the map would be constructed and what it would say.
we weren't just thinking up things or finding things on the internet and going to find elders to get more information out of them and share it as we pleased. We sat with the elders. It took months to build these relationships, and then over time we found out what was important to them, and we amplified those voices in the way that was guided by them.
The map uses what's called augmented reality, meaning you can point a smartphone or tablet at different places on the map, and its story will come to life on that device. Patrick Mataby is with the Binagami Shared Circle, and he says they wanted to make the map interactive to appeal to both Indigenous and non-Indigenous students.
What we want to do is get out and engage with young people, especially in the schools, not only on the reserves around the Great Lakes watershed, but in various communities in the non-native schools. I think it's really super important that people learn about our history.
Charlene Barehead is the Vice President of Learning and Reconciliation with Canadian Geographic. She says there are a number of things that make the map special, and this includes the unique way it looks at land and water.
We reframe the thought of territory or place or land by the waterways. I think that's one of the things that when you step on this, you can't help but realize how significant and prevalent water is.
The map is available to the public in a number of ways, in person at places like the Canadian Geographic Office in Ottawa, online, and in lesson plans that are being made available to schools. Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.
Well, with the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation right around the corner, many people will be wearing orange shirts. Our Whitehorse reporter Sarah Connor spoke with a high school program that is using Orange Shirt Day to give back to the community.
How it's done. Okay.
These grade 10 students in Porter Creek Secondary School's Fashion Art Design School program are learning the basics of fashion retail.
So I picked a small because there was no extra small.
Today, they're releasing almost 200 limited edition orange shirts for the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. This is the fourth year students have sold their merchandise at this Whitehorse sports store. The program's teacher says the shirts are a big hit with customers.
People want these shirts. We just brought up the 3 boxes, and we had people like digging through them already. And I had to be like, wait, we need a minute.
Today, students are learning everything from folding to organizing a display so it stands out. But the program is also focused on giving back. All proceeds from the sales of these shirts will be donated to the Committee on Abuse in Residential School Society, or CARES.
For them to give back, to support the community is really the main goal.
Grade 12 graphic design student Harlan Koizan, who is tall 10, designed one of the shirt's logos. He says the imagery is important to him and his First Nations culture.
I looked at it as a way to just give thanks to my cultural background and represent where I came from mainly.
Koizan is looking forward to seeing his design worn on September 30th.
It feels great to have my design out and about and getting out there, showing what I'm capable of.
The shirts are expected to sell out over the next few days. CARES will provide an Every Child Matters award of $500 to 4 graduating student graphic designers next year. Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse.
Starting tonight, CFL games are going to be looking a little different. We'll hear from the Football League Commissioner after the break. Welcome back. Here's a look at your current conditions. Sunny and 17 in Fredericton, 16 in Halifax. Cloudy and 16 in Kuujjuaq, 13 in Nain. 18 with cloud in Montreal, 12 in Val-d'Or. 14 in Sault Ste. Marie, 18 in North Bay. 16 in Thunder Bay, sunny, and 19 in Sioux Lookout. 14 in God's Lake and Norway House at this hour. 15 in Winnipeg and Dauphin. 13 in Regina, sunny, and 14 in Saskatoon. 12 in Meadow Lake, 8 in Buffalo Narrows. In northern Alberta, showers and 12 in High Level, rain and 13 in Fort Chip. Sun's out and 20 in Edmonton, 25 in Lethbridge. 19 in Vancouver, 23 in Kamloops. Sunny and 14 in Prince George, 12 in Smithers. 6 in Old Crow, showers, and 8 in Whitehorse. 8 with rain in Yellowknife, 9 in Norman Wells. 3 with snow in Sax Harbor, 2 in Pawlatuck. 8 in Chesterfield, Whale Cove, and Arviette. +1 with snow in Resolute, 7 in Igloolik. Starting tonight, the CFL will use their games to commemorate the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. 8 teams will be playing in special jerseys. All of the logos were created by local First Nation and Métis artists to showcase the league's close ties to communities across the country. The logos will be featured on players' helmets and jerseys. And for more on the initiative, Creason spoke earlier with CFL Commissioner Randy Ambrosi.
Randy, thank you for talking with us today. We really appreciate it. Can you explain why the CFL wanted to do this kind of program and why it's so important?
Yeah, well, first of all, Creason, thanks for having me on. It's an honor. And look, I'll start by saying, we often talk about 2 things that we focus on. One is, what's the reason to watch the CFL? And that's because we think we've got a fun, fast, and entertaining product. But really, the other side is why care about the CFL? And the reason to care is that, we play, we believe, a really important role in our communities. And we've been amazingly connected to them. And why this? It's because sports has an amazing ability to bring people together. And this is a true opportunity for us to play a small part in bringing Canadians together in all of our CFL communities, and frankly, around the country, to be part of the National Truth and Reconciliation movement, to play just a small part in bridging the gap between the past and now the present and the future. And we're excited about that. But really, all of the credit goes to our teams who have just shown amazing initiative and wanting to be part of this. But we are incredibly proud to be, again, just play a very small part in this very important moment.
No, that's great to hear. And walk us through how many Indigenous artists were included and how much work was done to get to this month of commemoration.
Yeah, so again, all the credit goes to the teams, because what they've all done is worked in their local communities, talking to local leadership, Indigenous leadership, meeting with local artists, and then obviously selecting a logo that well represents this important moment in time. We have 9 great logos that we're incredibly proud of, and they'll be on full display. It's important to note that those logos that'll be featured on the helmets and on the jerseys are going to be part of our broadcasts on CTV, on TSN, on RDS, our CFL Plus, and CBC Sports in the U.S. So there's going to be there'll be a lot of people watching, a lot of eyeballs on this moment. And again, it's exciting, and how much work has gone into it, a lot. But really, the credit goes back to the teams for really leaning in and unanimously wanting to be part of this very important initiative.
Yeah, the more the merrier, more eyes the better. What does this do for the CFL and the CFL fans when you have a program like this, and including all the teams?
Well, we've often talked about, ours is a long history of inclusion. Ours is a very proud history, and by the way, not a perfect one. And it's important to note that we don't claim that we've got everything figured out, but we do have a very, very cool history and a very powerful history of bringing people together, being a league that was very welcoming. And I think by sharing that message, it opens the doors to all of us, just taking that next step in the right direction, being part of the conversation, being part of discussion. If we can just raise that level of awareness one little bit, it's going to help all of us be a stronger national community, better neighbors, better friends, and hopefully create an environment for some healing. So, again, across all of those things, we want to just play our little part. We've got this great history. it's a very authentic history and one that we're proud of, and now we get to take another step in the right direction.
Randy, what is the CFL's message to the wider public, businesses and organizations in doing this kind of collaborative work? How can they get involved?
Well, again, ours is that this starts with this is very important, and it's our message about the importance of community. And it's a conversation that we have with our sponsors and all of our partners. And then that's a conversation we're having with our fans. Again, going back to, diversity, inclusion being so important, such an important part of our history. And it's one of the reasons why our league has been so great and so strong. So by bringing all those thoughts together, and we're going to see a large stadiums filled with fans. We're going to see a lot of orange, this weekend. I think it sends a message, that we're all in this together. That together we can solve a lot of problems. We can again bridge that past to where we are today and where we all want to be in the future. And again, what we're trying to say to everybody is let's all be part of creating that better future together.
Well, we'll have to leave it there, Randy. We really appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to talk with us.
It's great to be with you. And again, thanks for making time for our story. And we're very proud to be part of this story.
Great looking logos. That Ticats one, though, ooh, 10 out of 10. Our current affairs shows are set to return next week. A new season of APTN Investigates, Nation to Nation, and Face to Face. Season 11 of Face to Face premieres Tuesday, October 1st, and our guest is Melissa Robinson, a cousin of Morgan Harris, a victim of a Winnipeg serial killer. The Winnipeg police chief who refused to search for their loved one retired earlier this month. Robinson says she doesn't think a new police chief will make things any better in Winnipeg.
We've never had a police chief that has been for Indigenous peoples. Looking back at the number of chiefs that have come through our Winnipeg police, there's not one of them, I think, that's, that held that bar. And Danny Smythe, well, I don't got the nicest words when thinking of him, just because of that complete, no, it can't be done. No, and this is why it can't be done. But here we are 2 years later doing it. So, our reaction to that was they just didn't want to do it. They didn't feel like our women were worthy enough to do it.
And you can catch our interview with Melissa on Tuesday right after the newscast. That is all the time we have for your first look at this Friday's news. We'll be back at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. That's when we can watch that entire interview with MNC President Cassidy Caron and much more. Of course, you can stay up to date throughout the day by visiting our website, aptnnews.ca. I'm Dennis Ward, Marcy McGuich. Thanks for being with us. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.